Hello, my name is Dr. Jeffrey Harris, and I wanted to take the time to introduce myself, let you know a little bit more about me, as well as why I started Balance Healing. My story essentially began with my parents, who immigrated from Jamaica to Brooklyn, New York to search for a better life, not only for themselves, but for their children. They were working odd jobs until my father discovered the art of DJing, which everyone quickly realized he was very good at. He was well known and became very successful in New York City. So from Brooklyn, we moved to Queens. I had an amazing childhood. My parents allowed me to discover who I was through exploration of the world around me. At the time, there was 3 of us. My oldest brother Brian, Richie, and then my little sister Alana, who came along much later. So it was me and my 2 older brothers in New York City, and I essentially grew up as the baby. My mother would describe me as her quiet, shy, good child. She always said to everyone that I was the best baby because I didn't cry. Growing up as a kid, I was creative and I had a great imagination. Although we didn't have much, my parents would ensure we knew we were loved. During Christmas time, we had the best and the most fun because they would buy us whatever we wanted, although they worked very hard to do so.
Thank you for this, Voltron. Thank you for this, Chocolate. Thank you for this. Thank you for this.
One thing I struggled with when I was younger was learning. I just didn't understand how to grasp and apply concepts. The school I was at in New York, in PS 135Q, informed my parents I had a learning disability. Now, I was an introvert, but still was very curious like most kids. I had amazing parents. If I could go back, I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world. But around the age of 9 is when I started to see and notice some things as a kid I probably shouldn't have noticed or seen. I definitely noticed the communication between my parents dissipating. I remember when I was around the age of 9, my mother picked me up from school one day, and we both looked at my report card and it said failed the 4th grade, which meant I had to repeat the 4th grade. I thought that was the worst news I would receive that day, but I was wrong. My mother took me home, and when we arrived, she told me she had a plane ticket and was leaving to go to Florida to live with her sisters because things were getting really out of hand between her and my dad. Days later, I saw my dad on the phone, and he asked me to come outside. And he told me to stand with my back against the gate. And then that's when he looked me in the eyes and said, I have your mother on the phone, and we have a question we want to ask you. And whatever answer you provide, remember, we both love you. And that's when he asked me a question I will never forget. He said, who do you want to live with, me or your mother? As a 9-year-old kid, I had a tough decision to make, but I chose to live with my mother in Miami.
We're not gonna let you see it because it's too scary for you. But don't worry, when we come back outside, we'll show you the whole thing. Come on.
Although my father stayed in my life from afar, he was still physically absent. And with him being absent, my family splitting apart, me failing the 4th grade and adjusting to a new place, it was definitely hard. I suffered from depression, eating issues, adjustment problems, low self-esteem, and abandonment issues. However, things slightly changed in high school when I was placed in the Education Magnet program. From that point forward, things just clicked. I knew then I wanted to help others through education, but more importantly, it was then that I had a vision for my life, which was becoming a mental health counselor so I could help people safely navigate through and overcome the things I had to overcome myself. I barely got accepted to college, but nonetheless, I was accepted to the University of Central Florida. I remember I had this professor. He was the cool professor and very well known. And us college kids really looked up to him. After he taught class, we would all stand around him and he would just tell us all these cool and amazing stories. However, one day while we were standing around him and in the middle of telling a story, he said he could just tell by looking at someone if they were intelligent. And he began telling kids how smart they were. And then he looked and pointed at me and said, see, I can look at you and tell you are not intelligent. Those words really took the wind out of my sails. I was not only embarrassed, but it also brought up some unresolved issues I didn't deal with yet. So I decided to take advantage of the mental health services at the University of Central Florida. I essentially did the hard work and developed healthy habits that allow me to work through the trauma, the family issues, the cyclic relationships where you end up dating the same type of person, the self-worth issues, anxiety, and now I want to use my education, my experience, and first-hand knowledge to help others heal as well. Well, I first got into health and fitness by my older brothers who were always active. I was extremely skinny and generally an underweight kid, as I weighed about 140 pounds and I was 6 feet tall. I worked out a bit with my brothers, but I didn't do it consistently. So in 2000, when I got to UCF, everyone seemed to be working out and everyone was into fitness. So when I first went to the gym, I attempted to do chest, and mind you, there were a lot of people in the gym. And this was probably around 5 p.m. by the way, which is prime time. So I tried to lift the 45-pound bar and it fell on my chest and I was so embarrassed. So I stopped working out for a couple months, but I couldn't allow other people's thoughts of me to limit me and my growth, as well as control my belief in myself. So I decided to push myself and go to the gym consistently at 5 a.m. every morning. And over time, I began gaining muscle and learning about my own body. Now, over 20 years later, it is one of my anchors. And through my business, Balance Healing, I'm also a certified personal trainer, helping others around the world who initially struggled reaching their health and wellness goals over the years now easily reach their fitness goals by taking the guesswork out of the nutrition process and providing them with easy to follow individualized fitness and nutrition plans so they can live a more healthier and happier, successful life. When the pandemic first hit, I saw a dramatic increase in posts regarding health concerns, suicidal ideation, depression, and anxiety. Seeing these posts impacted me so much, I decided to create my own post on April 23rd, 2020, offering help to those who simply needed someone to talk to. After talking with so many people, I was inspired and wanted to continue to support and help people in an authentic and meaningful way. So I had this idea of launching my own business. I worked on it for nearly a year, and right before the time I was going to launch, on January 6, 2021, is when I had a stroke. During the stroke, I thought I was going to die. The recovery process was very hard, and truthfully speaking, I'm still recovering. It truly changed how I looked at things. I began looking at the way I was living, which was very passively. It strengthened my spiritual belief. It truly makes me appreciate every breath that I take. I remember the doctor looked at me with a very serious but concerned face and said, "Sir, not many people walk away from a stroke the way that you have. You must have an army of angels protecting you. We need to monitor you because people who've had a stroke are more likely to have another one." So based on this near-death experience, I made a decision to live my life as a giver and someone who was invested in helping others. I want that to be my legacy. So on February 5th, I officially launched Balance Healing LLC, my own private practice, which gives me the opportunity to use both my mental health and fitness experience to help others. While I provide counseling in states where I'm licensed in, there's also a separate part of my business that I offer personalized health, wellness, and fitness plans. Essentially, I create personalized treatment plans to help walk each individual client step by step through the journey of healing from a wide range of mental, social, emotional, and/or physical health issues. I'm very excited because my life mission is to use my passion and gifts to help others, and I believe this will allow me to do so.